The Russia-Ukraine crisis has triggered a sequence of domino effects even far beyond the borders of Europe. Long-term relationships have been burned due to the war, and new ones are being created. Meanwhile, Russia has continued to caution other countries against interfering with the conflict, warning that doing so would lead to deadly consequences that the world has never seen before. In light of these threats, world powers like the United States are constantly assessing the situation and their possible response if things go south. And that includes preparing for a potential nuclear war. Of course, the United States military is never short of weapons. In fact, officials have just unboxed a new doomsday weapon called the StormBreaker. And according to reports, this winged smart ammunition will be used to repel and return any form of nuclear attack by Russia. In today's video, we'll reveal what this mystery weapon is all about and why it's getting so much attention. When the Russian assault began in February, most people had no idea it would last this long, let alone spill over to become a potential nuclear war. But that's what it has turned out to be. Russia has continuously warned other countries to stay clear of the conflict. In fact, not too long ago, President Vladimir Putin announced that any attempt to interfere in this war would be met by a lightning-fast military response from the Russian forces. And we're not even surprised because over the years, Russia has been known to bully other countries with its military might. Recently, the country's controversial president, Vladimir Putin, also put its nuclear forces on high alert. However, the United States military is not one to tremble in the face of threats, especially when it is coming from a notorious opposition like Russia. If anything, the US military, as the leader of the free world, will be looking to exercise the full strength of its military forces to prove a point to Vladimir Putin and Russia. We all know that the United States has been one of the biggest donors to Ukraine since the war started, providing weapons, humanitarian aid, and military intelligence worth billions of dollars. Vladimir Putin is certainly not happy about it, and this has further strained the shaky relationship between Russia and the United States, as concerns continue to grow that another Cold War or maybe even a nuclear war could break out soon. Citing all of the threats and shady movements from Russia, the US has been putting in all the work required in preparation for the potential worst-case scenario. Several military units have been deployed to Poland as part of the NATO alliance. High-ranking military and government officials are constantly examining the situation. And more importantly, the US is testing the most lethal smart bomb ever, and it's sending shockwaves across Russia already. A GBU-53-B StormBreaker is a smart glide bomb that is designed to strike targets with high precision. Smart bombs have a long, well-detailed history in warfare, dating back to the Vietnam War in the 1960s. Back then, the US military forces identified key targets in North Vietnam for destruction, and one of them was the Tan Hoa Bridge, also known as Dragon's Jaw. There were 27 targets in all, but the Dragon's Jaw in particular proved too difficult to knock down. At 540 feet long, this monstrous structure snakes across the Sangma River. It had giant pillars which measured 16 feet in diameter, allowing it to carry a railway track and 2 highway lanes conveniently. Determined to collapse this bridge, Lieutenant Colonel Robinson Risner assembled a strike group of 80 aircraft and headed for the Tan Hoa Bridge. Spearheading the attack were 31 F-105 fighter jets, with about half carrying bullpup missiles, while the other half had regular 750-pound bombs strapped to them. The feeling amongst US military officials was that the ammunition deployed would be just about enough to down the bridge. Little did they know, their calculations were wrong. By the time they started the shelling, pilots had reported that the bombs were bouncing off the bridge, so they retired for the day and launched another assault the next day. This time, Risner deployed 46 105s, but the bridge weathered the storm quite well. Another round of twin strikes condemned the bridge for repairs, but the core of the Dragon's Jaw remained intact. Around 900 sorties and 11 fighter jets were lost over the next 5+ years before the US military discovered the laser-guided bomb, and that proved to be the right ammunition to pull down the Tan Hoa Bridge. and since then, they've become a constant feature in the operations of the US military in different battlegrounds across the globe. Between February 1972 to February 1973 alone, the United States dropped over 10,500 laser-guided bombs. What makes the StormBreaker so different? Smart bombs are not exclusive to the United States alone. Countries like Germany, Israel, China, and Russia have smart bomb technologies, including Fritz X, Spice 2000, CAB 500, CAB 1500, and PBK 500U. But the GBU-53 StormBreaker remains the leader of the pack, with the ability to strike targets with laser-like precision, regardless of the weather condition. StormBreaker is the only weapon that enables pilots to hit moving targets during bad weather or if dust and smoke are in the area, StormBreaker Program Director Christy Stagg said back in 2020. If you've reached this far into the video, we'd like to give you a huge thanks. You can extend your support by subscribing to the channel and turning that notification bell on so you don't miss any of the content we upload. Comment down below, I subbed, for your chance to be entered into our monthly shoutout giveaway. What are its features? This smart doomsday weapon has a length of 69 inches and a diameter of between 6 to 7 inches. The StormBreaker weighs in at 204 pounds and is able to carry a 105-pound warhead. Formerly known as the smallest diameter bomb, it is equipped with different technological perks such as data link, millimeter wave radar, and GPS coupled inertial guidance, which helps it identify and strike static targets from 69 miles out and moving targets from anywhere within 45 miles. Interestingly, the StormBreaker bomb features a unique connectivity suite that supports the change of trajectory for airborne missiles. Simply put, the StormBreaker bomb can be redirected to hunt down new targets after it has been launched. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about this war artillery is that you could launch it from one platform and control it from an entirely different platform. How much does it cost? The exact amount of a single StormBreaker smart bomb is unknown, but we estimate that one unit of this winged ammunition would cost less than $200,000. The United States has so far invested heavily into procuring this weapon. In December 2021, the U.S. Air Force agreed to an initial $250 million deal with Raytheon Missiles and Defense to modify the current GBU-53B StormBreaker ammunition. According to sources, the contract would cover key areas like design development, integration, test, and production engineering for changes to the SDB-2 GBU-53B technical and production baseline. The project's entire cost sits around $700 million, and the completion date is expected to be sometime in 2027. Outside this agreement, the US military and Raytheon also have other existing partnerships, including a $2.1 billion contract awarded by the US Missile Defense Agency to Raytheon for the production and delivery of standard Missile 3 Block IB interceptors. Last year, the United States military tested the StormBreaker using the only aircraft that has gotten the green light to fly it, the F-15E. Testing was held in November 2021 at the Utah Test and Training Range, using 4 F-15E fighter jets. The StormBreaker struck its target with lethal accuracy. Here's what StormBreaker's program director said about the trials. By stress testing the weapon in an operational environment, we are even more confident in the weapon's ability to strike targets in difficult conditions. Meanwhile, Air Force Colonel Jason Rusko suggested that the StormBreaker might just be ready for deployment. The SDB-2 StormBreaker is ready for operational use after undergoing extensive development and flight testing. The StormBreaker has gone very quickly from a random smart bomb to one of the most talked about military weapons, and that, of course, is bad news for Russia. What do you make of this revolutionary weapon? Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Be sure to check out this video over here.